Hello and welcome to My Bolt EUV, a source of information for all EV owners from a proud owner of a Bolt EUV. Today is our July 2024 news roundup, and boy, do I have some exciting real news about EVs. Not the hype from the EV hate channels either. Real, verifiable, clear, and reliable information about the industry. I have no new information about the 2026 Bolt EUV, but I am happy to report that I will be making a special video about the upcoming Bolt next weekend. I will be meeting a special guest and we will have a conversation about the Bolt, and we will present our desires for that Bolt. The video will be titled, Dear Mary Barra. Stick around, that video is going to be fun. But for July, here are our top EV news stories. We're going to be talking about 2024 EV sales year to date, along with my predictions through 2030 and those of the top EV experts. We're going to talk about some of the EV news stories that I see almost every day. I will mention a few of the news stories that have caught my attention recently. And we're going to talk about public EV charging infrastructure. We will take a quick look at the DC fast charge maps from the Alternative Fuels Data Center and some of the major non-Tesla DC fast charge providers. So sit back, here we go. If you were paying attention to the news back in January, all the hyperventilating experts were telling you that EV car sales are flat and the consumer is moving back to ICE cars. Well, the second quarter results closed the door on that nonsense. Let's take a look. So first of all, they did get off to a slow start back in January and February, and despite the lies that you're getting from the news media, what is the truth about EV car sales? Are they cooling off? And how did Q2 of this year compare to last year, or even last quarter? Let's take a look. The first quarter got off to a pretty slow start. There was only about a 7,000 unit increase from quarter 1 2023 to quarter 1 2024. But ICE vehicles did take a nice rebound. But you have to consider GM was no longer manufacturing their bestseller, the Bolt, and the Blazer was only available in limited quantities. The Equinox was not yet on the scene, and the media was screaming that EV car sales had fallen off a cliff. Well, let's quickly look at quarter 2 2024. 330,463 EVs were sold, bringing it from a 7.4% share in 2023 to an 8.1% share in 2024. The fact of the matter is ICE vehicle sales fell off to only a 7,000 increase out of almost 3.8 million sold. The year-over-year increase was 31,721 units, and the quarter 1 to quarter 2 increase was 61,554 units. That's substantial, my friends. And what are the important takeaways from this? Year-over-year increase, 39,000 units. ICE increase year-over-year was only 0.19%, 7,279, while EV year-over-year sales increased 31,721, as I'd previously stated. Virtually all of the increased numbers of car sales in the second quarter of 2024 were electric vehicles, not the internal combustion engine. In fact, the year-over-year increases for EVs were 4 times that of the internal combustion engine, on a much smaller volume of sales. So what is the truth we can get from these numbers? EV car sales have increased in 2024. There is zero cooling off. If it had not been for the EV sales in the second quarter, the total number of new cars sold would have only been 7,000 more than the previous year. And factually, ICE car sales are cooling off. That's the truth, and that's not what you're seeing in the media. And with that, we go to our second news story. Why are most news stories about EVs negative or misleading? Well, here's the ugly truth. Negative stories about EVs sell clicks, and clicks are what make the world go round on the internet. Every news media organization in the world knows that. Negative stories are also promoted by AI that has been trained by the fossil fuel cartels to get them promoted on social media. This process is known as relevance before optimization, and Big Oil pays their hundreds of PR staff members to use AI to help prioritize what you see in a Google search, or in any search for that matter. My Bolt EUV does not have those same resources yet. And finally, one of the biggest negative stories that the news media likes to push are about the availability of public chargers. The truth about public charging is there's quite a bit out there. The news media is going to tell you as a member of the public, if you own an EV, when you're out on the road, you will get stuck in a place where you cannot charge. And they make it seem like that happens thousands of times a day, when in reality it may happen 1 or 2 times a week to people who have not planned their trip. The fact of the matter, there are 69,648 station locations to charge your vehicle nationwide today. And at those stations, there are 195,829 EV charging ports. But because EV car sales are increasing, everybody knows that we need more and we need to build them quickly. And that is exactly what is happening right now nationwide. Take a look at the image that's on the screen right now, the public EV charging infrastructure. The alternative fuels data center image is on the left. All those green dots are charging locations. On the right is just the Electrify America network, and we're going to look at that in a little more detail. Again, what you're looking at now on the screen is the alternative fuels data center DC fast charge networks nationwide, and you will see they are mostly centered around where there's population. Moving on to the Electrify America map, you can see that they've got pretty much all the major interstates covered. The EVgo map is not quite as sparse, but they have a lot of partnerships that don't show up on this map, like the Pilot, Flying J, and General Motors partnerships. Those EVgo stations are not on this map. ChargePoint has thousands of DC fast charge locations across the nation and tens of thousands of the slower level 2 chargers. This is just their DC fast charge network. And again, here's the Blink network, and you can see they've got most of the major interstates covered as well. So for anyone to tell you that there's not enough charging infrastructure for you to take a trip, they're simply lying through their teeth. So, in summary, EV car sales surged in the second quarter of 2024, more than 61,000 more than in the second quarter of 2023. Most of the information you get from the internet is going to be tainted, and there are plenty of chargers available for your road trips, but more are needed because more EVs are coming. So now we're coming to the commentary portion of this news roundup. EV car sales jumped from 7.1% to 8.4% of all cars sold in the U.S. in just 3 short months. That's more than a 15% increase in 90 days. And by the end of the year, the EV rate should be about 11%. And by the end of 2025, I would expect to see EVs garner 15% of the new car sales in the USA. And that is the turning point for mass adoption. I go back to the horse and buggy analogy. In 1903, the horse was king. But by 1923, the horse was relegated to the rural areas of our nation and was no longer the main form of transportation for families and businesses. So my prediction is this: the electric car is here to stay, and within 10 years, the gasoline car will be in the same category as the horse. And that category is a former form of primary transportation. In other words, the gasoline car will be extinct. Please do remember to subscribe, share, comment, and like. And hit that notification bell if you want to know when I upload something new. Also remember, treat everyone with kindness, put a smile on your face, help someone today, and pay it forward when someone does the same. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you out there while we're making news together driving our electric vehicles around this great nation. Take it easy, everybody.